Hi, this is Dmitry, and today I'm in beautiful Manhattan Beach, California. I will try to take some photographs of surfers with my Sony A9 and Canon 70-200 lens. I will try to take photographs of surfers or other things that move, and I will tell you about my settings that I usually use to get those photographs. Now people ask me about what my usual settings that I use on Sony A9 when shooting surfers. What I usually do is my autofocus tracking sensitivity is set at 1 locked on, because I want to make sure that I lock on that surfer and it stays with that particular surfer. My other settings are I use the appropriate f-stop. In terms of the shutter speed, which is the most important, I use between 1/1200ths to 1/2000 of a second, and those settings usually are pretty good for surfers to freeze surfer each and every time between 1200 to 2000ths of a second. And I use auto ISO, and I use then depending on what lens I use. With the Canon lens, like Canon 70-200 here, I'll use medium. With the Sony native lens, I'll use high. In terms of autofocus window for continuous autofocus, I use zone. I find that zone works the best. I don't have that many surfers to pick from, so I use a zone in the middle, and that works for me. If I have too many surfers in a window, then I may use a center, but most of the time it's a zone. When I said that I use zone focusing, I meant for Sony native lenses, because unfortunately with Metabones adapter on a Canon I cannot do zone, so I have to pick between auto area and center square. I will use either auto or center with the Canon lenses. Dmitry again. This time I'm going to use my Canon t7i camera with the 70-200 lens to shoot surfers. This is something that I have not done yet with this camera before, so I want to test its 45 autofocus point system. Let's see what happens. So what I usually do is to shoot surfers, I choose shutter speed somewhere between 1200 and 2000. So I'm gonna do this on this camera as well. I will set shutter speed at 2000, and I will shoot in either shutter priority or full auto with that shutter speed and see what happens. I'm gonna try with auto area and then zone. After I've taken some photos of surfers, I've noticed that there was a beach volleyball tournament for women, so I decided to use Sony A9 to take photos of those with the same lens. So in conclusion, I've used Sony A9 with that Canon 70-200mm lens, and I also brought with me Canon t7i. The reason I brought Canon t7i was because I wanted to get a feel for autofocus on a native Canon body in comparison to a Sony body, just to have a feel for it, how it focuses on Sony versus a native body. And t7i is the 2017 model with 45 autofocus points, phase detect, and I wanted to see how it would work. So I can tell you that A9 did an amazing job with the 70-200 Canon lens. Even though my surfers were facing away from me, so there was no phase detection that could work, pretty much all of my photos were in focus. It was simply amazing. With the Canon t7i, the results were quite predictable.
A lot of my photos are in focus, not all, some were in focus, some were not, but a lot of them were in focus. So I was pleased with how that camera performed with the lens, but nothing to compare to Sony A9. Sony A9 was just on a different level, and also when I shot beach volleyball with A9, it was so easy that it almost seemed like a child can just take this camera and camera just shoots itself and everything is in focus. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, post comments. If you think that I should do some other comparisons, let me know and I'll try to accomplish it. Subscribe to my channel.